Hey everybody, it's Pete. Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Have a very obvious quick question for you right now. Raise your hand if you hate trading losses. Okay? Well, if you raised your hand, I have bad news for you. You're suffering from something that's known as SPS, and we call that small profit syndrome. You see, when you're not making big enough profits on your winning trades, that means that those losses just nag at you. You actually can't stand those losses and they drive you bananas. But really, the only reason that those losses bother you is because of SPS, small profit syndrome. It simply means that you're not making enough on your winning trades. So what we're going to discuss today is how to reverse that so that you're always positioned in the right stocks and the ones that have the greatest chance to give you the biggest winners. Now, we're going to drill down a little bit deeper. Some people might say that this is an advanced lesson, but if you watch it once or twice, it's actually pretty simple. And what we're going to discuss today is building 3 separate watch lists. Oh, by the way, if you find these videos helpful, definitely click down and subscribe. I would really like that. And if you think the video was helpful, give us a thumbs up. So what we're going to do is there's 3 lists. There's the first list, which is the universe of stocks that I watch every single day, no matter what, because they have good volatility, good volume, every single day, whether there's order flow or whether the tape is obvious or not, every single day I have a chance that those stocks might light up and give me an opportunity to trade. The second list is a weekly watch list. And this is one where I run certain scans from quarterly, monthly, and weekly for the most obvious order flow and stocks where the tape is still valid, where the tape is still obvious, where there's kind of meat on the bones. We call that room to go, right? And from the scans that I run, which I run those every Sunday, and I'm going to show you the categories in a second. Those scans go into my watch list and I'm looking for new opportunities. And ultimately, if I've never traded those stocks before, sometimes those stocks from the random scans that I haven't traded before, sometimes they make their way into my daily universe. So I'm constantly culling that list, taking stuff out of the daily universe, putting stuff into the daily universe, and it all starts with that much bigger scan. Then the third list is the most exciting one. So again, raise your hand if you watch the Dow or the QQQ or the SPYs or any of those major indices, the IWM, the Russell, right? Of course, we all do, right? However, there's a flaw with doing that. And that flaw is that some of the stocks within those ETFs, within those indices are so heavily weighted that one stock even could be having a super good day or a super bad day and be influencing what the reading of that indice or ETF looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it a step further. Now, I want to be very clear on this. The one indice that I'm about to walk you through is not necessarily one for trading. It's more so one for getting a feel for what the actual market is doing, getting a feel for a broader picture of what's going on in the market outside of just looking at the indices. So we're going to break it down into a whole bunch of different areas of the market, break it down from within the major sectors, build a list. I think it's roughly around 80 stocks that I have right now, but we're not necessarily going to trade it. What we're going to do is we're going to monitor it as a whole to understand how to solve and get rid of that infection, SPS, which we know as small profit syndrome. So again, if you have trading losses and they bother you, they drive you crazy, it simply means that you have SPS. You have small profit syndrome where you don't recognize when bigger profits are on the table and then you hold them, you go and get them. You also don't recognize when it's a tough market condition and you should be pulling back. You should be trading less share size. You should be working your orders if even you should be in a trade in the first place, because looking deeper under the hood into that third watch list will tell you, hey, take a step back. There's nothing going on right now. Preserve that capital. But remember, we're trying to solve the affliction that's infecting so many accounts all over the country, which is small profit syndrome. Small profit syndrome is you don't understand how to make big winners, so those losses are nothing more than just a simple part of trading. So we're going to get in. Remember, there's 3 different watch lists. There's the daily universe. It's stuff that you trade every day because of liquidity, because of volatility, because of the possibility of the stock having a day where it moves $10, $15, $20 in 2 or 3 days, maybe even $50 in a couple of days. Maybe you just out of nowhere, but when it pops up on your list and a certain type of volatility comes in, it's tradable despite the fact that there's no order flow or the tape isn't super obvious, but that day it's in play. Then we have the much bigger list that we update every Sunday afternoon. And again, this is from quarterly, monthly, and weekly reading of the tape and reading of the order flow. And we put only the best of the best ideas in the list for that week, both for day trading and for swing trading. And once in a while, a couple of those stocks become really awesome and you put those into your watch list. Sometimes stocks in your watch list go in and come out. And then the third one is looking under the hood of the market and getting a much bigger picture than just the indices. So we're going to take a look at all 3 of those watch lists right now, and then you could actually build those lists yourself. So first, we're going to actually head over to looking at my universe. Now, this is not my most updated universe. Again, can't give everything on to everybody. This is the predominant number of stocks and the predominant list of stocks that I trade every day, no matter what. This is a whole separate watch list that sometimes these stocks are in play, sometimes these stocks are not in play. And what's interesting here is you can see that they're not necessarily correlated. Some of them are tech, some of them are financial, some of them are industrials, right? And we have internet stocks. This is an internet e-commerce. So big mixture, right? Obviously Tesla's in there. So that's my universe of stocks that I trade every day, no matter what. Now, when I say trade every day, no matter what, I'm watching them every day, no matter what. I still want order flow. I still want a good reading of the tape to tell me that there's opportunity. It hasn't gone too far and there's still room to go on the trade. Okay. Next, we have an interesting one. This one here is the weekly watch list that I give everybody in the boot camp. So obviously I have it blacked out here or grayed out because I can't give you the exact stocks because this is privileged information for behind the scenes. So this is the list of, as you can see here, performance for the quarter, the month, and the week. So I have a proprietary scan that I run of stocks that are the strongest. They need to meet certain average true range criteria as well. Now I could just give you a little bit of a heads up. This list right now for me personally is around 60 stocks. So I ran all of the stocks on Wall Street for the best opportunities to make money. And I broke it down to just those 60 stocks. And these are the 60 stocks that I'm going to watch during this week, the week of January 11th and all 5 trading days. Now, what's interesting too is on the bottom here, you can see that it updates every week. So January 4th is the week of January 4th, the week of January 11th. But then we have this other column over here, which is sector rotation. So every single Sunday, I'm also running scans on individual sectors and their strength over the last week. So once a stock gets into this list, then I break it down even further and go down in the individual sectors and look for ideas. So you might call this the weekly watch list of updated stocks. Now, once in a while, certain stocks might perform incredibly well. They might be easy to trade. The sector and the industry group specifically might just be on fire and really easy to make money in. And that's the beauty of running these scans and having different kinds of lists. You'll find ideas that you don't necessarily hear about or see every day because the data doesn't lie. When you understand how to scan for order flow, sometimes ideas just pop out of the scans. So this is list number 2. List number 2 is the weekly updated watch list and the weekly updated sector rotation list. Now, remember what I said at the beginning of the video. This is to solve SPS. This is to solve small profit syndrome, which means you're putting yourself in position to be in the strongest stocks so that the odds of having bigger profits offset all of those tiny losses that are just like mosquito bites that annoy the heck out of you. You know they're a part of trading, but you have to get rid of them somehow. And the only way to get rid of them is to earn more on your winning trades. Okay, so that's the second list. So the first list is the daily universe that you watch every day. And my list is much bigger than this. I'm just using this for illustration purposes. The second list is the weekly watch list that you scan over and over again. And some of those stocks, when they trade well, go into your universe. So they make their way into the universe because of how well they're trading. Now, the third list is the most interesting one. And again, you can see on FinViz, you could run this scan. This is a scan where I want to avoid using just indice readings. I want to go a little bit deeper. So if you are familiar with FinViz, you'll notice that they have like these what's the way to word it? Sector breakdowns. There's really no other way to put it. So what you end up getting is you get sector breakdowns, and then within those sectors, there are individual industries that you might feel represent the economy as a whole, right? So what I do is I've gone into all of the major indices that I feel represent the economy as a whole: financial, metals, basic materials, healthcare, all of those individual sectors. And I took the easy way, which I wanted, this is why the easy way, because I want to give you a heads up. So let's just say, for argument's sake, you want to use ETFs, and you're going to go like the way I did, and you're going to break it down into starting with the semiconductor, right? Obviously, a technology sector, right? So you go to Yahoo Finance, you type in SMH, which is the semiconductor ETF, right? Then you go over to holdings, and you're going to scan down into holdings, and you're going to pull out the top holdings here, and you can see almost 60% of these 10 stocks represent almost 60% of this particular ETF. So you keep doing this for what you might determine, or you might call, like over here, you can see people also watch. You start to break them down, and you start to pull out the top holdings, and then you make a separate watch list of those. So for example, let's just say BBH, just for argument's sake, and we jump over to there. Then you would go into the holdings in the biotech, and you break this down even further. So they represent also almost 60%. Now, you would obviously go in here and pick out what you believe are the market leaders based on the current headlines and how everything is trading. But here's the most exciting part of this. Once you start to break the list down, and you don't need all 10, pick what you believe are the stocks in play, the ones that are getting headlines right now. And then you start to pick like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of them, right? So this list is 44. And then I have another list over here, which is list number 2. And again, this is not my most updated list. I'm throwing ideas at you right now. So what you do now, and this is the exciting part, when the market's unfolding, now you start to have a list of, and again, let's just use a round number. This is now the under the hood list, right? This is not necessarily a list of trading. Maybe you might find some stuff that makes it worth it into your universe, right? And you start to trade it a little bit. But this is really more your speedometer or your odometer, I guess. I'm not really a car nut, and you get a real feel for what's going on under the hood, because you might see, for example, you might see the SPY ETF up by 15 points, just for argument's sake. But it might be just one stock or 2 stocks that are heavily weighted in there, and it looks like it's much stronger than it is. But then you look over at this, you look over at your odometer, your big ETF under the hood list, and you're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Most of the stocks in this list are red. And especially if you want to go really deeper, they're red from the open. So that means within that time period, whether it's the day, the week, or the month, you're calculating it from, let's say, the first trading day of January, or the first trade on Monday, or the first trade today. Whatever time frame you trade, whether you're a day trader or a swing trader, you want to sort it by that particular time frame. And you might say, my gosh, all of 90% of this list is red. Just those 3 or 4 stocks are green. So the majority of stocks are seeing selling right now. So you're now looking under the hood and you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't be trading right now. Maybe I shouldn't be aggressive. Maybe I should only be focusing on a few stocks and working positions because the overall market, the wind behind the market is not there right now. But remember the part of this video that we wanted to get to. We wanted to solve your problem of SPS. Small profit syndrome is a big deal. So now we're going to talk about the opposite of that. We're going to talk about the opposite when that entire under the hood watch list is lighting up and everything is green. For example, if you're long, if you trade long, those are the situations where you need to put your positions on, start working your positions, and get away from the keyboard. Those are the ones where the big profits are on the table, and you make that $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 in a day or a week. And then all those pesky little losses that are a part of trading, they don't matter anymore because you're making enough revenue when the market's good, because you're now recognizing when the market's good. That under the hood keyboard, under the hood watch list is probably one of the most important things that I use in everything that I do. And it is the simplest thing to do. You just need to pour a pot of coffee on the weekend, spend some time going through Yahoo Finance, make a big list of the major ETFs that you believe represent what's going on in our economy. That's probably a better word, what's going on in the bigger part of the economy. And then dig into Yahoo Finance or whatever software or whatever platform you like to use, Get in there, pull out what you believe are the 2, 3, 4, 5 major holdings. Build a big list. It doesn't matter if it's 50 or 100 stocks. It has to be one that you're comfortable with saying, okay, this is my under the hood watch list. And I'm going to use this to help me solve SPS, small profit syndrome. When you have everything in that list lighting up, you owe it to yourself to make bigger money. I can't stress this enough. There's small profits, small losses, small profits, small losses, which 40% of the month is not trending. But you do get these moments when the market is trending and you need to clean up. Excuse me, 60% the market's not trending, 40% it is. During that 40%, you need to make what's on the table. So if you have any questions about this, questions about building your own list, and questions specific to this topic, I'd love to hear your comments. Let me know, put them below the video. And if you want to learn more about this or actually get my list, join me in the boot camp. Click below and learn about the boot camp. I'd really love to see you on the other side. Remember, if you hate trading losses, that means you have small profit syndrome. SPS is infecting your trading account, and you need to come out on the other side. And these 3 watch lists, the universe, the weekly scan, and then the under the hood watch list, will separate you from everybody else who's struggling. Have a great day.